In the quiet suburban town of West Valley City, Utah, a seemingly picture-perfect existence masked a sinister secret that was about to unfold into a nightmare. On December 6, 2009, Susan Powell, a young, vibrant mother of two, vanished without a trace, leaving behind a husband claiming desperate despair. But beneath the surface of Josh Powell's public grief, a chilling truth was concealed. This is the haunting story of a woman's disappearance, a husband's deception, and a tragedy that would shake a community to its core.
Well, I've been trying to figure out what I can do so I don't sit idle. I'm dealing with this repeatedly.
Sure.
Born on October 16, 1981, in Alamogordo, New Mexico, Susan Marie Cox was raised in Puyallup, Washington. She was known for her infectious laughter and kind heart. Friends described her as vibrant and outgoing, bringing joy to those around her.
The newest member
Verde.
I'm sorry.
No, we're not idiots. We don't butcher the Spanish language.
You don't. This is the newest member of Susan and Josh's family.
This is our baby.
Susan was just 18 years old when she met Josh Powell while attending an LDS Church Institute of Religion class together. Josh, born on January 20th, 1976, was the product of a deeply dysfunctional household. His parents, Stephen and Terica Powell, had a tumultuous marriage marked by Stephen's abusive behavior and his growing animosity toward the LDS Church. According to Terica's divorce filings in 1992, Stephen shared explicit material with his sons and refused to set boundaries or teach proper behavior. Growing up in such a toxic environment had a profound impact on Josh. As a teenager, he exhibited disturbing behavior, including killing a gerbil belonging to one of his sisters and threatening his mother with a butcher knife. He also attempted to take his own life on at least one occasion. He was described by friends as being narcissistic, egocentric, and a know-it-all. When Josh and Susan met in 2000, it was a case of opposites attract. Drawn to each other, they began dating and married in April 2001 in a Mormon temple. They temporarily moved in with Josh's father, Stephen Powell, in the South Hill area near Puyallup. In a bizarre twist, Stephen began to develop a deeply disturbing obsession with Susan. He would secretly film her, creating a disturbing narrative of his desires.
That's Susan. There's Josh. Standing with her, but I really want her. I wish she would look my way. She was so pretty today when she came over to the house. Wish the lighting was better.
Stephen secretly read Susan's journals, and he even filmed himself fantasizing about Susan.
Had was probably the most erotic experience I've had in my entire life. I just hate to say it. I mean, of course, I haven't had that many experiences, but Susan has been feeling ill. She had a cold, and I offered to rub her feet, to rub her toes, to give her some stimulation. That went on. I probably rubbed her feet, her toes, her beautiful feet. She has such pretty feet. Of course, everything about her is pretty, beautiful, and I know she felt it. I mean, I know she couldn't have missed it. She's not naive either, I know, from what I've read in her journals. That girl is not naive. When I started massaging her legs, I would have loved to go all the way up her legs, but I did do her calves because her feet were resting in my crotch, so I sort of rubbed her calves. She didn't seem to mind at all having me that close. I mean, I was close. I was touching her with my crotch.
Stephen's advances grew increasingly troublesome for Susan, and she shared her concerns with Josh. Stephen eventually confessed his love to her while secretly recording the conversation.
I'm probably wrong, but I've really fallen in love with you. And, I don't know. I mean, for the last year and a half, you're about the only thing we can think about. And I don't know where it began. It probably began when you were living
that experience on the couch, on your couch in Yakima 6 months ago was just, I know that, it was a massage, right? But you know, just being with you for 2 hours and holding you, and maybe I'm getting the wrong signals from you. Maybe I'm interpreting something that I shouldn't be interpreting. You know, it just, for example, when we were sitting on the couch, it just felt like you were very, you know, I was extremely aroused, and I think you were somewhat aroused, at least I thought.
I don't know where you're going with this.
And Susan, well, I'll tell you where
I'm married to your son, and I should just be the daughter-in-law.
I know.
Puts me a step beneath your own children.
Stephen's obsession with Susan created a toxic atmosphere for all involved. Both Josh and Susan were relieved when they moved into their own home in West Valley City, Utah in 2004. Their marriage was marked by a gradual shift from a seemingly normal relationship to one characterized by control and isolation. Yet, amidst these growing tensions, their family expanded with the births of 2 sons, Charlie in 2005 and Braden in 2007. The arrival of their boys brought immense joy to Susan, and she was a devoted and loving mother. However, as the boys grew older, Josh's controlling behavior intensified. Susan found herself increasingly isolated from friends and family. Her world was shrinking, and she was concerned for her and her children's safety. She told a friend that if something happens to her, to make sure they look at Josh. A year before her disappearance, she began planning her escape. Friends told the Salt Lake Tribune that she was seriously considering divorce and had developed a detailed contingency plan. Fearing for her safety and the well-being of her sons, she opened a separate bank account, made arrangements for a new living situation, and even drafted a basic will.
This is me. July 29th, 2008. It is 12:33 Mountain Time. Covering all my bases, making sure that if something happens to me or my family or all of us, that our assets are documented. Hope everything works out and we're all happy and live happily ever after as much as that's possible.
The morning of December 6th seemed like a typical Sunday for Susan. She took her children to church, and then a neighbor dropped by in the afternoon. Josh made dinner for everyone, which was completely out of character for him. Shortly after eating, Susan reportedly began to feel ill and seemed drowsy. The neighbor left and would be the last person outside the Powell family to ever see Susan. The next morning, Charlie and Braden didn't turn up for daycare. The staff failed to reach either Susan or Josh, so they called Josh's mother and sister to notify them of the children's absence. Josh's mother then called the police. When investigators arrived at the Powell family home around 10 a.m., they noted that Susan's purse and belongings were at home, there were no signs of forced entry, and 2 fans were blowing at a wet spot on the carpet. Josh finally returned home with the boys at 5 p.m., claiming to have gone camping. The children agreed that they had. Investigators were immediately suspicious of Josh's odd behavior. From the outset, his account of the night was riddled with inconsistencies. His claim of an impromptu camping trip with his young sons on a school night in frigid temperatures was met with skepticism. It seemed highly unlikely that a responsible parent would subject their children to such harsh conditions without proper preparation. He claimed that Susan knew they were going, and she decided to stay at the house.
What can you tell us about that night? I mean, from what we understand, you went camping and then came home. Well, tell us what happened that night.
Yeah, a lot of times I just go camping with my boys, you know, not anything big. I just go overnight, and you know, we do s'mores and stuff like that. And so I just went with the boys. I was planning to do some s'mores in the morning, and then we did. And then when we got home, well, on the way home, I found out that people were worried about us and that we were missing.
And the report is that neither you nor your wife called in sick, and they said that that's not usual. What are your thoughts on that?
No, It's not usual.
I guess why didn't you call in sick?
I didn't. I was somehow thinking that it was Sunday. I didn't go to church, and I just missed a day and thought, come back Sunday.
So you got confused on what day it was.
Yeah.
Josh went to the police station for questioning. His interrogation was a masterclass in calculated evasion. Initially appearing calm and cooperative, he presented a facade of a grieving husband with no idea of where Susan could be. However, as questioning intensified, his demeanor shifted, revealing underlying tension and control.
And you're going to have to wait here with us. You're not going to go anywhere. One of our detectives just interviewed your children. And your children are telling our detectives that Mom went with you guys last night. And that she didn't come back.
She did not go with us.
Okay, well, with that, just getting that information, you're not going to go anywhere. I'm not going to let you leave. I'm going to detain you. You sit right here. If you want a lawyer and you want to talk, or you want to change your mind and talk, or take a CBSA test, then we can do those things. But
now with that in mind,
They know that she didn't go with us.
well, here's the thing, kids are very honest. That's one thing I've learned in the years of doing this job. That when kids talk to us, we'll listen because they're honest. And they never lie, they don't make things up. So if they're saying they were with you, they were with you. Okay, she was with you. So I have to believe the kids. So now it's gonna be up to you if you wanna help us find her and help us get to the bottom of what really happened here. That's what we're here for, okay? We're gonna find out either way, with your help or without your help. I honestly don't need your help. I feel confident enough in my investigation and his investigation and everybody else involved. We have great detectives in this department that will find out what happened. We'll get to the bottom of this with your help or without your help. So I want to give you the opportunity to help us and tell us what really happened. Because you're the only one that knows.
Nothing that happened. She was not with us. And if my kids said that,
So your kids lie then? Do your kids lie?
sometimes they do. I mean, if they said that she was with us, they know that's not true.
So if they
And
say
if they said that she was with us, then I
Then
guess
what?
that would put her out at Pony Express.
okay, and that's my concern.
As Josh was being interrogated, his son Charlie was also questioned about the alleged camping trip. The counselor did her best to elicit information about Susan's whereabouts and whether she had accompanied them on the trip. Charlie made some chilling statements during the interview, claiming that Susan had gone with them, but she stayed behind where the crystals are.
Okay, so Charlie, when you guys came home from camping, who came home with you?
My dad
And?
and my mom stayed at Dinosaur National Park.
Your mom stayed there?
Yeah. My mom stayed where a crystals are.
Where what are?
Where crystals are.
The crystals? Crystals?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Crystals?
Yeah.
Your mom stayed where the crystals are?
It was unclear what Charlie meant by this, as children of his age often alternate between fantasy and reality when describing events. However, his intelligence was evident, and he was adamant that Susan had accompanied them on the overnight camping trip. When confronted with his son's statements, Josh obtained an attorney, and despite the mounting evidence against him, he managed to avoid criminal charges at that time. However, his behavior during these interrogations provided crucial insights into his character and laid the groundwork for the tragic events that would unfold later. Meanwhile, investigators serve a search warrant on the Powell home revealing blood evidence on the tile floor and on the sofa. Forensic tests confirmed that the blood belonged to Susan. They discovered Susan's cell phone in Josh's possession. The phone was turned off and its SIM card was missing. Investigators searched the area of Simpson Springs where Josh had claimed to go camping, but they found nothing. Susan's father, Chuck Cox, and other family members gather outside the LDS church to pray and sing hymns in hopes of Susan's safe return. A tearful Josh attends with the boys and joins an effort to hand out missing person flyers to fans attending a ball game. Josh's behavior grew increasingly suspicious, fueling rumors and speculation. Coworkers claimed that Josh had boasted at a party, saying that the best way to get rid of a body would be an abandoned mine shaft. Just a couple of weeks after Susan's disappearance, Josh withdrew all of the money out of Susan's retirement account. He took the boys out of school and moved back into his father Stephen's house in Puyallup. Investigators encouraged Susan's father, Chuck, to host a honk and wave event to raise awareness about Susan's disappearance. The event was set up near the neighborhood market in Puyallup and had underlying intentions of provoking Josh and Susan Powell. As soon as Stephen noticed the event, he stopped to confront Chuck while a news crew was present.
And I guess we're here,
You're
right?
not believable.
Yeah, right, sir. Right, I'm not. You are, though. Anyway, is there any other question that I can answer for anybody? I'm totally open to anything. I mean, we've got a lot of information about the Cox family and about Susan, a lot of it from her journals, a lot of it from Josh's, he lived with Susan for 8 years before she left. He knows a lot that is not in the journals, but the journals confirm what he knows that Susan told him about her family, about her growing up years. We weren't going to bring this up with the media. He brought it up with the media.
But you came here.
I did come here. Yes, I did. Because I wanted to see what was going on, and I wanted to.
And I have one question for you. How is you coming here helping to find Susan?
It isn't helping to find Susan. How is your standing at our neighborhood market helping to find Susan, Chuck?
People see the signs, her pictures out in the media.
Right.
It's been all over the media.
Yeah.
If somebody has seen her, then they can report to the police.
And you're only going to do this. Which other stores are you doing this at, Chuck?
We're doing it in West Valley City.
Unbeknownst to Stephen, investigators were hoping that this confrontation would provide more information, and it did. A search warrant was issued for Stephen's home in order to collect Susan's journals, but officers discovered a treasure trove of disturbing evidence that would reveal the depth of Stephen's obsession with Susan. There were organized boxes and Ziploc baggies of Susan's underwear, used feminine products, fingernail clippings, and voyeuristic videos. Stephen's computer was also retrieved and contained age-inappropriate images. Washington police arrested and charged 61-year-old Susan Powell with 14 counts of voyeurism and possession of explicit material. As a result, a judge ordered that Charlie and Braden be removed from the home and placed with Susan's parents, Chuck and Judy Cox. Josh was ordered to undergo a psychological evaluation and a polygraph.
Her, I did not have anything to do with her disappearance. I have never been charged or accused of any crime. I love my wife, Susan.
Josh moved out of his father's home and into a rental home nearby. He was granted supervised visits with Charlie and Braden. On February 5, 2012, at approximately 12:30 p.m., social worker Elizabeth Griffin arrived at Josh's house with the two boys for a scheduled visit. As soon as the children entered the house, Josh shut the door, locking Elizabeth outside. She smelled gasoline and called the police, but by the time authorities arrived, it was too late.
Did the door open? Did you see Josh?
I saw Josh for just 1 second. His eyes caught mine, and he had a look in his eyes. It was just kind of sheepish, and he just shrugged his shoulders at me like that. And then he slammed the door, and I thought that was an accident, that he didn't mean to lock me out. And so I knocked and I rang the doorbell, and I started yelling at Josh, let me in.
Then in a desperate act of violence, Josh incapacitated his sons using an axe, doused the house in gasoline, and set it ablaze. The fire engulfed the home, trapping Josh and his children inside. The tragic event unfolded before horrified onlookers, who were powerless to intervene. Within minutes, the house was consumed by flames, leaving a scene of unimaginable destruction.
What did you tell yourself about how this could happen?
What I tell myself is how it happened is because Josh Powell was really, really evil.
The horrific nature of the crime sparked widespread outrage and disbelief. Many struggled to comprehend how a father could commit such a heinous act against his own children. Susan's family and the entire community were shocked and devastated. Not only had they lost the boys, but the question of what happened to Susan would be left unanswered. Her disappearance remains a mystery, and her family and friends cling to the hope that one day her body will be found. Chuck Cox, Susan's father, established the Susan Cox Powell Foundation to support victims of domestic violence. While the search for her remains continues, let us honor the memory of Susan, Charlie, and Braden by working towards a safer and more just world for all.